Hey friends, welcome back. How you doing? Today I'm going to talk to you about self-doubt. Now, this one is a topic that runs deep in the neurodiverse community. I'm going to talk to you why, because I feel like it genuinely helps. Because when we get stuck in self-doubt, it feels so real and so hard to get out of. I think it might be empowering to really start to break it down. And I'm just going to go over generalization. If you want to work with your own self-doubt, then feel free. Just find me on teresaminnoch.com and set an appointment. Grab one of the mini courses or join the community. It's up to you, or you can find me on social media. Let's get into it. Okay, so as neurodivergent individuals, we really did grow up in a neurotypical standard, a neurotypical community. And I'm not saying that neurodivergent individuals are wrong or flawed in some way and neurotypicals are like normal. What I am saying is the neurotypical way or society way was not designed for us. So as we grew up, we really grew up instilled with the idea that there was something wrong with us because we genuinely were at a disadvantage. And society rules and norms have not caught up with us. Even if you talk to people about DE and I, it's incredibly rare that neurodiversity is even in the subject matter. So that lets you know how behind society is as far as it coming to neurodivergent individuals and the neurodiverse community. So we really genuinely did grow up with this feeling or this society opinion that we were doing wrong, that we couldn't fit, right? That our ways or the way our brains are wired are not fitting in, which of course would bring some self-doubt. We had sometimes, if we were not diagnosed and we were a late diagnosis, there's this real not understanding why we were the way we were. And then sometimes we were diagnosed and we still didn't quite understand the way that we were. Maybe we weren't educated as to what our neurodiversity was and what it meant and what our strengths were and what our challenges were and how we can support ourselves. It really depends on you and yourself and when you got diagnosed and how much you know about it, right? How much you've researched about it. This is another thing that's really important is inside we know who we are. We know how hard we try, and we genuinely have to try depending on your neurodiversity, depending on what your diagnosis is. We genuinely have to try harder than, say, a neurotypical person or neurotypical people, right? So whether it's reading and it's really challenging for us to read, or maybe you have dyspraxia, where it's like you have the words in your mind, but it's really hard to get them out of your mouth. Maybe it's dysgraphia, where you have this beautiful these beautiful ideas in your mind, but it's really hard for you to get it out on paper. Or maybe socially, you really struggled, right? And so we know who we are inside. We know what our thoughts are. We know how hard we try. Yet, because we are living in a society that was not built for us, we're constantly told what we're not. We're constantly told what we're doing wrong. And quite often, we are told things like we're lazy, or we're not smart, or we're illiterate or stupid or weird or awkward, right? There's something wrong with you. What's wrong with you? What I'm saying might be triggering, and for that I do apologize, but I am also saying it Because if you're a neurotypical person or come from a neurotypical family and you are trying to learn about neurodivergent individuals, this is something you need to know. And if you are neurodivergent, this self-doubt that you carry within yourself comes from this disadvantage that we had our entire lives of being told what we are not rather than what we are, which does and will create self-doubt. There also might be this self-doubt coming from the fact that we really didn't understand the society rules. Say, for instance, you are in a class and you realize that something is happening and people are uncomfortable around you and you're not quite sure why. Or you're in a social situation and people are talking to you and everybody's laughing, but you're not quite sure what they're laughing at. Or maybe you never really understood why your friends are always blaming you for things, kind of making you be the scapegoat. There's so many different things that happen in society, and for some of us neurodivergent individuals, we're just not really quite sure what the rules are, which would create self-doubt. Okay? There are also a lot of you out there, whether you're late diagnosed or early diagnosis, self-sabotage is a thing. And what happens when you are consistently self-sabotaging, you are losing your self-trust, which further puts you into self-doubt. So then when you come across something that you need to trust yourself to do, you don't have that trust inside. And because you don't have that trust inside, your mind will go in a tailspin of self-doubt. Going along society thing, we can know, say, our own selves, and we are engaging in society. Or say you're with some friends, or you're with some classmates, or you're with some people at work, and those people are being mean to each other. And somehow that's acceptable. That's okay. That might be even cool as far as they're concerned. But then you tell the truth about something, which we do, and that's not acceptable. That would automatically create some self-doubt, because I don't understand, why is telling the truth not acceptable, but being mean to each other is acceptable, making fun of each other is acceptable, talking badly about other people is acceptable, but telling the truth about things is not acceptable. That's very confusing. I'm just saying. There's also this justice. There are a lot of us neurodivergent individuals where we had a lot of injustice happen in our lifetime. And so we have this very deep-seated, deep-rooted belief that they need to be fair, right? That is not right. That's not nice to do, or it's not okay to lie, or why in the world would you treat someone that way? And yet we come across people that's like white lies are totally okay. And that makes absolutely no sense to us. So we would doubt ourselves. Why in the world is it okay to tell little white lies? And yet what I am saying that is the truth is not acceptable. Again, we're coming across a disadvantage. And I'm not even sure, I genuinely do not understand why society thinks that stuff is okay, and yet neurodivergent individuals might be weird or awkward for wanting things to be true, or wanting things to be right, or wanting values and morals to be upheld. Some of us have a hard time expressing our thoughts. So it's like we're thinking in our head and we're wanting to express, we're wanting to get the words out. And our mind is in a tailspin of all of the things that could go wrong, this deep self. And because we're in this tailspin of what might go wrong, we can't quite get our words out. And that creates more self-doubt because it's hard to say what we're thinking. Maybe for some of you, you are having self-doubt because you're actually doubting the way that you're feeling, right? It's like you're having this feeling, but you're not sure why you're having the feeling. So you doubt yourself for having the feeling. You know the feeling is there, so then you're just super uncomfortable. And you're having a hard time expressing your thoughts and your feelings. So kind of keep it inside. But what this is doing is also instilling a deeper root of self-doubt. A lot of self-doubt can be anxiety-driven, ruminating thoughts. It can make it harder for us to do basic things like talking or completing a project or communicating, calling and talking to your child's teacher. There are so many different ways that self-doubt can play in our lives that make it harder to do, right? So these are some things that I think that self-doubt stems from. Of course, there's more. If you want to talk to me about what you're going through as far as your self-doubt, feel free to reach out to me. Now I'm going to talk to you about some ways that you can help yourself, right? I have again about the bots. We have belief systems that we have going on in our mind all the time. We don't even realize that they're there. We have opinions, maybe about ourselves or maybe about someone else. We have thoughts that are running through our mind that are subconscious or conscious, and we have stories that we have built about ourselves, about our environment, about the people around us, about people we engage with. And with these, if we're questioning ourselves consistently, it's being aware of our thoughts is so important. And it gives us the tools to be able to choose with intention. It's like we can have those thoughts there. And the self-doubt is going to be there because it's been there for so long. But if we are aware that it's there and what the reason is, we kind of start to deconstruct it. And if we're aware of our bots, beliefs, opinions, thoughts, and stories, again, we can have this tool to not judge ourselves, not go in the tailspin of self-doubt, but moreover, be aware, and so we can choose again. Another way to help our self-doubt is working and doing exercises to gain trust in ourselves, believe in our capability, lean into our strengths, and most importantly, really embrace our neurodiversity. Really be able to advocate for ourselves and what we're needing. And this isn't like stand up to the man, stand up for ourselves. It's more like with love and respect and boundaries, advocating for our needs. And this can start the process of reducing your self-doubt. Okay, I love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.